In this video, I want to introduce you to the concept of a percent. Of a percent. And percentage comes from the Latin per centum. And all this means is by the 100. By the 100. And in other words, say you were to have 50%, 50% of something, All this means is you have 50 out of 100 of the somethings. So think about that as a fraction. Whatever the something is, you're going to have 50 out of 100, or one half of the somethings. One half of the somethings. And let's do an example here. So let's say that you have 100 pieces of candy. 100 pieces of candy. And you eat 25 pieces. You eat 25 pieces. Now, you have eaten 25% of the candy because 25 out of the 100 pieces is 25. So the candy that you've eaten is represented by 25 out of the 100. Or if you were to simplify this would be 1/4. So you've eaten 25 out of the 100 pieces, or 25%, or 1/4 of the pieces. And if you were to turn this into a decimal, you would have eaten 0.25 out of the whole pieces. If the pieces were a whole number, you would have eaten 0.25 of the total. This may be a little bit confusing, so we can work on some practice problems. So let's say that we have 50 marbles. We just have 50 marbles. And the marbles are different colors. So we have 10 red marbles, and then we have 40 blue marbles. 40 blue marbles. And we want to find the percentage of each of the color of marbles. So we can start out finding the red marbles. So we can write it as a fraction. We have 10 out of the 50 marbles, and these marbles are going to be red. So we already converted this to a fraction. And notice if we were to have 50 out of the 50, that would be the same thing as 1, and 1 whole is equal to 100%. So we need to multiply this fraction by 100 in order to get the percentage that are red marbles. So we multiply by 100. And we can simplify this. You can see that 10 over 50 is going to be the same thing as 1 over 5, or 1/5. And then 1/5, let me draw this, 1/5 times 100 over 1 is going to be the same thing as 100 over 5. And if you were to divide these, you would get 20. And remember, this is in percentage because we're multiplying by 100. This fraction itself would be actually equal to 0.2. But since we're talking in percentages, the number of red marbles are 20%. Now, before we start with the blue marbles, I want you to notice something. There are 100% possible and 20% are red. So the remaining percent should be blue, which would be 80%. So we already know, just logically thinking, that 80% of the marbles are going to be blue. But we can go ahead and work this out like this one. So we can write 40 over 50 are blue, because there are 50 total. And we can simplify this, so that's actually what we're going to do. 40 over 50 is the same thing as 4 over 5. If you were to simplify the fraction, it is the same thing as 4 over 5. And this is our fraction answer, but we want to find it in a percentage. So we're going to multiply by 100 to get the percentage. And then this would be, well, 4 times 100 is 400. And then over 5, because there's an implied 1 under this 100. And then 400 divided by 5. Well, 40 divided by 5 is 8. And there's an extra 0, so this will be 80. And once again, remember, since we multiplied by 100, this is going to be in terms of percentage. And it looks like we were right. Since 20% are red, that means 80% are going to be blue. And that means that both of these combined are going to equal to the total amount of marbles, which checks out because 10 red marbles plus 40 blue marbles is going to be 50 marbles in total. Before we start with our next problem, it's important to understand something. So let's say you're given a percentage, and we'll write this percentage as a P with a percentage, no, a percentage symbol. And you want to find the percentage of a number. You want to find the percentage of a number. Well, you're going to multiply the percentage by the number. Multiply the percentage by the number n. And that is going to give you, so if you take the percentage times the number, this is going to give you the parts of the number that is the percentage, is the percentage. And you'll understand what I'm talking about in just a second. So let's say that in a classroom there are 30 students. 30 students. Now, we are told that 40% of the students, say 40% of the students, are girls. And now we want to know exactly how many girls are in the classroom. Well, using this formula thing up here, we can see that we take the percentage, so 40%, or 40 out of 100. 40 out of 100. And then we're going to multiply it by the number, like the total number of things. So times the total number of students is 30. And that should give us the part of the total that are the percentage, and 40% are girls. So this equation here should get us the number of girls. Number of girls. And then 40 over 100 is the same thing as 4 over 10, which is 4 over 10. And this is the same thing as, well, if you're dividing something by 10, that's going to move its decimal place to the right. So this is going to be the same thing as 0.4. So we multiply 30 by 0.4, 0.4, and then we can multiply this, and that's 0, and then that's 12. There's one number here to the right of the decimal place, so that is going to leave us with this, and that means that the number of girls will be 12. So there are 12 girls in this classroom. 12 girls. And let's say we wanted to find the boys. Well, we could subtract the total number, or rather, we could subtract the number of girls from the total number of students. So there are 30 students total. And then we're going to subtract the number of girls. We're going to subtract the number of girls. Then this is going to give us 20, or 18, sorry. And then there are 18 boys. And we also could have gotten this by realizing that percentage is out of 100. So if 40% are girls, that means that 60% are going to be boys. So we can do that as well. We can go down here. So 60% are boys, which is the same thing as 60 out of 100. 60 out of 100. And then we're going to multiply that by the total number of students. The total number of students. And 60 over 100 is the same thing as 6 over 10. And dividing by 10 is going to move a number's decimal place to the left. It's going to move a number's decimal place to the left. So this is going to be 0.6, and then 0.6 times 30. This is going to be 0, and this is going to be 18. There's one number to the right of the decimal place. So we're going to have one number to the right of the decimal place here. So our answer is 18, and that does check out here. Okay, let's do one more problem. So let's say that, or let's say that we have the question if, hold on. if 25% of a pizza is 3 slices, how many slices are in the whole pizza? How many slices are in the whole pizza? So we can use our formula last time that says 25% times the total number of things. But this time we don't know the total number of things. It says how many slices are in the whole pizza. That is the total. So we're just going to leave this. Let's let the total number of slices be n, since that's what it was in the last formula. And that's going to be equal to 3. That is going to be equal to 3. And we can rewrite 20 as 20. Let's see. Rewrite 25%, and I'll change colors here. 25% is equal to 20. Sorry. It is equal to 25 over 100, or 25 out of 100. And this is going to be the same thing as 1/4. It's going to be the same thing as 1/4. So we can rewrite this expression. As 1/4 times the number is going to be equal to 3. And we know that if we have some numbers a times b equals c, well, we know that c divided by a will be equal to b, and c divided by b will be equal to a. That's just common multiplication. So, for example, we could take 3 times 7 is equal to 21. Well, 21, let's see, 3 is a in this problem. So 21 over 3 will be equal to 7. And then, of course, 21 over 7 will be equal to 3. We know that this is true. So we can actually divide 3 by 1/4. So n will be equal to 3 divided by 1/4. And remember, when you divide by fractions, you can keep, change, flip. So n will be equal to 3 over 1 times 4 over 1. And this will be equal to 12 over 1, or just 12. So our answer to how many slices are in the whole pizza, there are 12. There are 12 slices in the whole pizza.